Images are the nearest we get to seeing the scale and beauty of ocean landscapes without the help of computer. So far, we've only drained the water far enough to bring the ocean. When the water level drops again, the largest landscape on the planet comes to life.
Every year, the Salvation Army serves nearly 30 million people in need. That's one person every second. So by the time we're finished watching this, 30 more lives will have been changed for good. All thanks to your donations. Thank you. Give today.
If you've been threatened with foreclosure, denied for a loan modification, missed a payment on your mortgage, been a victim of a predatory loan, you're upside down on your mortgage, or you lost your job and you're worried about losing your home, call the National Relief Hotline now. Call now before it's too late.
My days are action-packed. I've got to get breakfast ready for my two living ladies while managing their schedule with my producing partner. I set up Kids Corner so they can learn and play games without deleting my stuff. Working mom is sometimes a tough role to play, but it's definitely the one I was born for. And action. That's me. And this is my Windows phone.
New Windows Phone. Reinvented around you. Thursday, the boys build a wheelchair for a wounded vet. Giving him a shoulder trophy. New episode of Rocket City Records, Thursday at 9 on the National Geographic Channel. Which next? These two tabletops, they are exactly the same size. Don't believe me? Check this out. This, see these lines? Perfectly clear. Watch this. Now watch this. What is that about? Gotcha. If you think that's crazy, we're really gonna blow your mind. A Brain Games Marathon starts tomorrow on the National Geographic Channel. Sunday, I'm Truck City. Your city is home to poverty. Yeah, right. Who's that? Being pushed. For many out of work, drugs are the only game in my town.
I didn't grow up as a child saying I want to be a drug dealer. Going there is hard to obtain here in Detroit.
Being so close to Canada means easy access to the goods.
This is a perfect place for selling drugs.
Drugs Inc. New episode Sunday at 9 on National Geographic.
This holiday, share everything. Share, not even close. Share, you owe me. Share, does win. Share everything. Shareable data across two devices with unlimited talk and text.
Hurry in for a Droid Razor M by Motorola, $49.99.
It's a 315 horsepower, 5.3-liter V8. Nutcracker. The 2013 GMC Sierra. Get 0% financing for 60 months, plus trade up to this specially equipped Sierra and use your $2,000 package discount for a total value of $4,000. Or choose to trade up with customer cash and your $2,000 package discount for a total value of $7,500.
Some ocean landscapes exposed by draining the ocean are so vast, it's hard to get a sense of scale. Now, we take away nearly all the water to expose the largest landscape of all. A huge flat plain. The abyssal plain. Abyssal plains cover about a third of the whole planet, about as much as all dry land combined. On the coast of North Africa, the flat plain of mud and sand was created by a cataclysmic event. Geologist Peter Tolan walks across the aftermath of this event.
Here we are in Northwest Africa, and I'm standing on top of a deposit of sand and mud from a submarine flow that happened about 60,000 years ago.
That flow, an The underwater sandstorm was on a scale that's hard to imagine. In just a few hours, it moved more sediment than all the rivers of the world carry in a year. It started as a landslide through a canyon pure from North Africa, like those in Monterey Canyon. But this avalanche was much more powerful.
And as that landslide started to disintegrate, all of the sediment in the landslide started to churn up, mix in seawater, and made its way down the canyon. The flow then came out of the canyon, and it started to spread. It spread into this abyssal plain that I'm standing in, and it spread to be over 100 miles wide.
This flow was so vast that looking down from high overhead, it's still hard to see its full size. It raced at 60 feet a second over the flat plain and traveled over 1,000 miles, eventually stopping on the flanks of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge.
Oh, are you okay? Come here. Sorry. You okay? Come here.
This all
Okay,
happened a
sorry.
long time ago,
You may bonk in the
but
head.
similar events still happen,
You okay?
even
Okay.
though in the real world
Sorry, you
they're
okay?
hidden under 2 or
Okay.
3 miles of
You
water.
may bonk in the head. Sorry.
Pitch black and
Okay.
under crushing pressure, the abyssal plain is hard to explore. But
Okay.
each time we descend into these depths, we
Yeah.
find something new and unexpected.
Okay. Right. Okay.
These are mud
Ow.
volcanoes.
Ow.
Hot gas escaping from under the seabed liquefies the sediments, then builds them up into mud sculptures.
Ow.
There are mud volcanoes on land, like these in Southern California, where heat deep below ground level liquefies the mud.
Water?
Mud volcanoes are not very
Like water,
common
huh?
on dry land, but on the abyssal plain, there are more than 100,000 across the globe, and they're much bigger. These in Southern California are only a few feet in height. But beneath the Gulf of Cadiz of southern Spain, there are mud volcanoes that have grown to enormous sizes. This field of giant mud volcanoes has only recently been mapped. And this is Algeciras, 800 feet high and 3 miles across. With the water drained from the abyssal plain, it's easy to see that Algeciras is 100 times bigger than those in California.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
It's
Ow!
not just mud that oozes up onto the abyssal plain. In some places, tar emerges onto the ocean floor. As soon as it meets the cold water, the tar solidifies over large areas, like a blacktop road running across the abyssal plain. There are places on land where tar bubbles up like this. The most well-known lies in the middle of Los Angeles, the La Brea tar pits. This place is famous for animals that were trapped in the tar, died, and preserved intact. On land, this tar pit was a death trap, but underwater, it forms oases of life on the abyssal plain. Bacteria live off chemicals in the tar, like the bacteria on hydrothermal vents. Other creatures feed on these bacteria, creating rich, bright environments. And the further we explore this vast plain, the more bizarre life we find. As well as tar, other chemicals seep up from the seabed. And everywhere this happens, life takes advantage of it.
Oh!
In
You okay?
places,
Come here.
the
You okay?
abyssal plain
You okay?
stretches for
Sorry.
more than 1,000 miles.
You okay?
And
You
we've
okay?
only explored a tiny fraction.
Meow. I heard that one bonk. You felt kind of hard,
There
huh?
must be many more
Okay?
strange creatures
You okay?
just waiting to be discovered.
Okay. You kind of bonked yourself in the head, huh?
With nearly all the
You okay?
water drained away,
You okay?
our
Ow!
planet looks completely
Ow!
even familiar landscapes are transformed. This is a view of the islands of the Bahamas,
Okay, as long as you're
rising
okay.
sharply vertical for more than 2 miles from the Atlantic abyssal plain. Not the usual image of the subtropical paradise. The Bahamas are a group of hundreds of islands left by shallow turquoise seas, often only 20 feet or so deep. These islands are scattered over an area of nearly 5,500 square miles. Poking above the surface, they're just the tips of a huge underwater structure called the Great Bahama Bank. Unlike the other landscapes we've exposed, this wasn't created by volcanoes. Instead, it was built up over many millions of years from limestone, carbonates, the shells and skeletons of countless marine.
We always say carbonates are not made, they're born, because really the carbonate cell is produced by organisms.
The Great Bahamas Bank is still growing, as living creatures, from corals to tiny plankton, add to its height. The reefs of the Bahamas are just a very living skin, a vast limestone rock that's been growing for millions of years. The numbers of creatures that died over that time to create a structure like this size is almost unthinkable. We're able to see the scale of this structure without draining the water. In a view from space, the turquoise water marks the outlines of the bank, and the deep valleys carved into it are marked by deep blue water.
Yep.
But to see the real scale of this landscape, we need to drain the water down to the level of the abyssal plain. Now, standing on a Bahamian shore would be a totally different experience for scientists who bore.
Ow! Ow!
Great Bahama Bank on an island that is surrounded by beautiful turquoise water. We would take that water away, we would get exposed on the platform edge to reefs, and then a spectacular drop-off to 3.5 kilometers depths into the Northeast Providence Channel.
It's around 2 miles from the abyssal plain to the top of this cliff, where the waves touched the shores before we drained the water.
the steepest face on the Earth. So it's steeper than, for example, the steepest face on the Mount Everest.
The Great Bahamas Bank is not the only massive structure rising from the abyssal plain.
Ow!
The ocean floor is studded with underwater volcanic mountains called seamounts. Most of the volcanic activity on Earth takes place below the surface, where it produces mountains from a few thousand feet high to those tall enough to break the surface, like the islands of the Hawaiian chain. The largest concentration of seamounts is found in the Pacific, and those around Hawaii have been mapped in detail. Scientists from the Hawaiian Undersea Research Lab have dived on many of these underwater mountains and found that each was teeming with life.
Although we haven't been able to visit anywhere near the number to say for sure, it looks like for the ones that we have visited, that there's an awful lot of animals that inhabit these. They're all unique and they're all different, but there's always something.
1460 meters.
There's water. Huh? There's water. There's the water.
Even more amazing is the sheer number of
There's the water.
seals. Scientists have counted more than 15,000 in the Pacific
There's the
Ocean
water.
alone. If each one has as much life as the few studied by the Hawaiian teams, they must account for a huge fraction of the